If you're here, you already know the power of building a lead list, whether that's an email list, a phone list, a social media list, whatever it may be. That becomes a sellable asset. But in order to create that, you've got to give something away of value to incentivize somebody to contact you. And now with AI, you can create customized lead magnets at scale that will really allow you to deliver something exceptional instead of the old standby PDF report, ebook, or whatever it may be. So in this video, we're going to take a look at a very simple way to create customized lead magnets using Google Docs, Make.com, and a simple form. So let's get into it. So first off, we're going to look at this scenario. So the way this scenario works is what we're going to do is we're going to grab information from a form. So it starts off with a webhook. So if we jump over here, we take a look at the simple form that I've created. You're asking the name of the company, organization, grabbing their first name, their last name, their email, and then whatever sort of questions you want to ask them to populate the data in your report that you're going to be generating. Now, this can be basically anything. In this specific report, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be showing hypothetical numbers, taking a look at potentially what they could save by implementing automation and AI into their business opposed to using traditional human employees. So I'm asking things like, how many staff members do you have in administrative roles? Now, these are roles that essentially maybe can't be fully automated, but they can definitely be augmented and probably reduced in number. So if you have 5 staff, maybe you can implement AI and automation and reduce that number to 1 or 2. Number 2, we're asking the average salary. We're going to need this to create the calculations to determine roughly how much they might be able to save. How many hours a week are they doing? This is for time savings, percentage of their leads that convert into customers. This is in relation to using AI to enhance lead generation and sales, because that is definitely going to increase conversions, and we're going to show that in this report. And then just number of leads they generate each month, and then the average order value. So the way that this works, like I said, when they hit submit on this form, it's going to fire off a webhook, and that webhook is going to capture a bunch of information, and then that information is going to be sent over to ChatGPT. Here's the message content. I won't read it out because you can grab this blueprint below this video, but essentially you're giving it the numbers and you're asking it what to do with those numbers. And then what we're doing is we're delaying so that it has time to calculate. And then we're setting variables. You don't have to use variables. I just prefer to do it. It's a little bit easier to work with. So we're storing what we've asked them in the form in variables. So how many staff do they have? What's the hourly wage? So we're dividing that year by 2,080 hours in a year to get an hourly wage. Average salary, time spent on repetitive tasks, customer acquisition costs we're not using in this one. Number of leads, average order value, staff cost savings. These are just placeholders which we'll use later on. Then we're going to use some math. This is used for the conversion rate. So this is where we're taking in the number of leads and the average order value, multiplying that by 12, and then coming up with a 1% conversion rate. And then we're doing average salary minus the annual cost of AI, and then we're multiplying that by the number of staff they have. This is going to give us the potential savings. So for example, if they pay $48,000 a year for a staff member, and we estimate that AI is going to cost $1,000 a month, that's $12,000 a year. So 48 minus 12, that's 36. And then we multiply that across the number of employees that they would replace, and that'll give us an overall savings that they would potentially realize by eliminating X number of staff members. Next up, we're setting variables again based on those math results. The additional revenue, 1%, additional revenue, 2%, and additional revenue, 5%. You'll see why we're doing this in a minute, but essentially we're saying, like, if they're getting a 1% conversion rate now, and we want to show them the potential boost if they had a 2% conversion rate or a 5% conversion rate, etc., we want to store those. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be populating this into a Google Doc. Now, the reason I'm using Google is because it's simple. If we look over at this Google Doc, if you've never done placeholders in a Google Doc before, you can essentially put whatever variable you want to replace in double curly brackets. So, for example, business name is a variable that we're going to populate with information from our scenario. Now, I've put some of this in hard-coded, essentially, if you will. I've written it out. Now, what you could do is you could put this whole thing in a set of brackets, and then you could have, say, ChatGPT or Claude or some sort of language model write a customized paragraph or number of paragraphs based on information that you're asking in a form. It could be based on information that you're pulling from the internet. For example, we've done many before where we're scraping information on their company from LinkedIn, from their social profiles, pulling in all the different types of technologies they have on their website, and then we analyze that and we create a really customized report. But this is just to show you kind of the power of using AI to build these dynamic reports. So after we've done all that, part two is essentially we're just going to be emailing it to them. So the way that that looks like is we're grabbing the report. So we're watching for a new document. So the way that it works is here is that placeholder document, our template, and then once it's created, it's going to be dropped into this finished ROI calculations. And so we're watching that folder to see any time that a new document is placed into that folder. When it is, it's going to then grab that document. It's going to download it in PDF format. It's grabbing the document ID because we've stored all the information in a data store in the part one of the scenario. This is part two. And then it's firing off an email to that email. Subject is the name. And then again, we're just using mapping. Hello, first name. This is all information that we got from the form. And essentially, that's the way that it works. So let's just see how that works. So let's say the name of the organization is Test Organization. If I could spell, doesn't matter. Name's Mike. Let's see, Smith. Email. How many staff members do you have? Let's say 1 to 5. And then this is also why I'm using ChatGPT. If we jump over to part one, I'm asking for it to come up with averages. So for example, you're going to be given a number range, and I want you to find the midpoint of those numbers. So when I ask them a question like, how many staff do you have? If it's 1 to 5, it's going to give me the average of that. And we've done that essentially with all the formulas. So we're saying basically they've got 1 to 5 staff member paying $30,000 to $40,000 a year. They spend 0 to 5 hours on admin tasks each month. They're currently converting their leads at 0 to 5%, and let's say they get 1,000 leads generated per month, and each lead that's converted into a customer is worth $1,000 to them. So if we submit that, need to put in a valid phone number. We'll just use this placeholder number here, and then if we submit that, it'll say thank you for filling out the form. It's going to fire through this scenario, and then if everything's worked properly, we'll see a new document. It also is going to phone saying that the form is done, that sort of thing. So as you can see, ROI calculation for test organization, it's come through and it's replaced those placeholders. So it's a strategic overview for test organization. And then any place where we use placeholders, so they had, again, this is the average, 1 to 5, average is 3, average salary 35, the average cost of AI, as I said, $1,000 a month. This is basically for hosting, upkeep, etc. And then we've just placed that all in. So based on this current scenario, the total staff savings is $69,000 per year. And then this is where we're using increased conversion rates to calculate potentially what they could see if they boost those conversion rates. So they get 1,000 leads a month at $1,000. By increasing the conversion rate just 1%, that is $120,000, because obviously 1% of 1,000 is 10, and then 10 times 1,000 is 10,000, and then we multiply that by 12 months. That's $120,000. Now, if we increase that, obviously double that, that's 240. If we 5x that, that's potential savings of $600,000, and then we can add those staff savings and increase revenue. Potentially could see $669,000 savings per year. So you can see how you can start placing these in and really coming up with some dynamic and creative lead magnets if you do this properly. And as I've said, this is really just scratching the surface. This is a very basic form. If you wanted to take this to the next level, there's basically unlimited things you can do. It's really based on how creative you can get with this. So if you have any questions about this video, different ways we've utilized this, different customized reports we've built, if you want to download the Make Scenarios, it'll be below this video. Anyways, I hope you like this video, and if you want something like this built for your business, then you can book a call. There's a link below this video, or of course you can visit us at our website 1000xsales.com and book a call there. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.